I want to talk about grooming gangs. The backdrop to this is that all sexual crime and paedophilia is horrific and shouldn't be happening. I'm conscious of the fact that most crimes, sexual crimes, are committed by white people simply because of the numbers. The horror of any kind of sexual crime is that this lives with the victims for their entire lives. The mental and in some cases the physical abuse that they receive never goes away. In some ways, it is worse than being executed. I'm just putting that into context. I'm also not talking about individual sexual crimes caused by illegal immigrants or anyone else for that matter in this country. I'm specifically talking about grooming gangs and the horror that and the actual and the reality of those crimes. Okay, so the Pakistani principally, and to a lesser extent the Bangladeshi groups, are not only guilty of sexual offences, but actually they're guilty of terrorism and ethnic cleansing. The Pakistani population consists of 2.5% of the UK's population, of which about 0.25% are responsible for this crime, but they're responsible for 20% of group-related crime in this country. So 0.25% of the population responsible for 20% of group-based crime. 90% of the Pakistani population, however, are not involved. They're not perpetrators, and indeed some of them are victims. And they are the people that have to live with this as well, but we will never find out about that. Potentially 250,000 young British white girls have fallen victim to this over the last 30 years. Be under no illusion that Muslim women are also victims, and these are daughters and nieces within the Pakistani community groups, but we will never find out about this because they will not say anything, because they live in fear. So there is an additional problem which we will never see unless this is ousted. This is a culturally orientated, organised and planned crime driven by sexual lust, and they will justify it through Islamic objectives, ethnic cleansing and conversion to Islam. This is why it is significantly serious. The cover-up to protect these rights of minorities, using the flag of racial backlash, is inexcusable. This is a crime committed by a minority Islamic group, most of whom are actually legal migrants in this country. Most of them within the Pakistani community will come from the Mirpur region in Pakistan. And this behaviour, be under no illusions, would be totally unacceptable in Pakistan, apart from the abuse of their own women, Muslim women there. The perpetrators live in this country, live in tight Pakistani communities where they behave and operate freely. They wave the racial abuse card, which is fanned by far-left ideology, as protection. And our government, police and public services have enabled this, and they are equally as guilty by association. So what to do? To the far left and to the left, understand the horrific consequences of some of the baseless ideologies that you are pushing. Every mother, father, brother and sister should understand this and will know this. If it's your daughter or it's your brother or your sister that has fallen victim, then you need to understand the consequences of what these ideologies are resulting in. To the moderate and right elements of this country, please understand that this is a small section of the Pakistani population. This is not the fault of the entire Pakistani population or the entire Muslim population. This is a small sect that are responsible for this. Most of the people, most of the Muslims in the Pakistani community are good people that delight at being considered to be British citizens, and they themselves live in fear of these extremist activities. So the government and public services, particularly the police, you are as guilty of these crimes as the perpetrators, and you should be held accountable for your actions. To the Muslim and Pakistani communities and the victims, be brave. You actually would have more influence over stopping this from happening than anybody else. And actually, because you're Muslim, you will be heard more than normal British people. Do not be afraid. You will be supported by the state. And to Pakistan, we signed an agreement, a treaty with Pakistan in 2018, where Pakistan agreed to take back any Pakistani living in this country if they committed a crime. This is a horrific crime that's been happening for the last 20 to 30 years. That treaty has never been implemented, never been actioned, but we now need to start implementing it. These people, they shouldn't be going to prisons in the United Kingdom, but that's far too good for them. They need to be deported immediately and removed from this country, ousted by their own communities. Those British Pakistani Muslims who wish to enjoy the freedoms that the United Kingdom gives to them. Do not be afraid of these people. Let's get rid of them, and please let us save our daughters and our sisters from this horrific crime. People need to stand up and smell the coffee. My last comment is I have, just by dint of sending out these videos, been accused of being a racist, fascist, bigot, partly because I have come out and not defended but given my thoughts on people like Charlie Kirk, and because of my association with Tommy Robinson. I don't have an association with him, but because I went to the United Kingdom march, I'm therefore a racist. What I will say, particularly about the latter, is that if he, by his actions, has prevented one young girl from being raped by these grooming gangs, if he's prevented one person from being attacked in his community or any other community by Muslim extremist groups, then I don't care. I don't care what his criminal record says. Nothing I have seen suggests to me that he's racist. He is merely protecting the rights of British people. And from that perspective, you can call me what you want to call me, but you're being baseless in your accusations.